Hey, welcome to another vlog. I'm gonna be breaking down the second chapter of music marketing for the DIY musician. I think this book is super relevant to people in my audience who don't have a big budget but want to learn how to market their music correctly with a plan of action. And that's what this book is all about, is creating your marketing plan. This is the second chapter, which just gets into the first step of marketing your music. And I'm kind of going to go over some parallels in my business as well, because this portion, which is describing your vision, really creating your vision based on your ethos and how you want to move forward and what you want to create and what kind of impact you want to leave. And once you do that, it really helps map your way forward and gives you an end goal that you want to work towards. So, why it's important to identify a clear vision. It'll help you pursue marketing opportunities that work without feeling like you're selling out or selling your soul. For me, like doing these vlogs or doing my podcast or posting like helpful, inspiring stuff on Instagram is basically a way for me to market and explain a little bit about myself and getting my audience to know me without being sleazy. It'll help you keep your integrity when you're making big decisions. It will make sure that you build a career in alignment with your values, because if you have your vision and your vision is based on your ethos and the things that you care about in the world, then when you're making decisions, you will make these decisions based off of how you feel about them, and do they line up with the ultimate vision. Sometimes it's tempting to take shortcuts in business and in marketing, or you think that there's an easy way to do things, but maybe it doesn't line up with your overall vision, so you got to take the L today to get the long-term win. It'll help you create a plan with defined short-term goals so that you can check and see where you're at on your journey, and you'll see where you want to be in 10 years, and you'll be able to break it down into smaller chunks and then make sure you're checking the boxes, knowing if you're on schedule for your vision. Maybe you're a little bit slower, or you worked really hard and you got ahead, and then you can adjust where you think you'll be. It'll also help you communicate more effectively with investors, because if people want to invest in you, whether that's a record label or even just a private investor, they want to know what they're aligning their brand with. They want to know that you have a vision, and they want to know that you have a plan that you're working towards. They don't want to just invest in somebody who's got some vague idea of what they want to be and don't really have a work ethic. So if you come with a clearly defined vision, it's a lot easier to sell your project or your idea to investors. And then what he has is sort of a 7-step, I don't want to say 7-step, but 7 questions or areas that you need to fill out when creating your marketing plan. And I'm going to have a PDF that you can download for free with all these questions, and you can answer these questions, and then you can create your marketing vision template. So first, you need to identify what kind of artist or musician you plan on becoming. Are you going to be in a band? Are you going to be a solo artist? Are you going to be a songwriter working in the back? Are you going to be a service provider like myself? I do mixing and mastering. It's basic, and you probably already know the answer, but it's important to know what you plan on doing. And obviously plans change, but just ask yourself this question, in 10 years, do you want to be a solo artist? Do you want to be in a great band? Do you want to be a producer or a songwriter? Or maybe you want to have a little home studio like myself. So just ask yourself where you want to become, or who you want to become, where you want to be in the next 7 to 10 years, and what type of artist or music professional you envision becoming. And then number 2, what products or services will you offer? And that's kind of like, it's weird to think about your art as a product, but is your product going to be music? Is your product going to be services like mixing and mastering or beat making? Just know what you're going to be monetizing so that you can put a lot of effort into honing that skill and marketing that skill. And then number 3, you need to define your genre to some degree. Even if you don't lay exactly within that genre, it gives a reference point for the audience. If you think of 3 bands that you kind of sound like, look at what genres they are in on Apple Music or Spotify and just go with that. You don't have to be defined by it, but it gives the audience some kind of reference point so that if they see, oh, they're stoner rock, even if you don't fall exactly in the lines, at least people will have a general idea. And if they're fans of stoner rock, they're more likely to click and listen to your music than if you have some sort of vague reference. Or you say like, oh, we don't really sound like anybody, we're like brand new, then people probably aren't going to click because they have no idea what you sound like. And then number 4, decide what level of success you're after. Do you want international, national, or even local success? Not everybody has to be a world superstar. Being a local success doesn't mean that you have to live in poverty. You can be a successful local musician, playing sessions, doing recording sessions, playing gigs, teaching lessons, and make a good living for yourself. And then consider what industry you're in. Obviously we're selling music, or we're in the music industry, and you can just say that I'm in the music industry, but it's good to get maybe a little bit more specific as well. Like, he has an example of Jimmy Buffett, who said that he was in the business of escapism. And some artists are in the business of escapism. Some artists have more of a socially conscious message. I don't want to say socially conscious business, but that's part of what they're selling, is their socially conscious image. Maybe you're selling nihilism. Maybe you're selling sex, or a glamorous lifestyle, or you're selling deep spiritual connection. We're in the business and we're selling something, so just know what you're selling. It could just be music, but chances are if you dive in a little more deeply and ask yourself some questions, then you'll be able to come up with more compelling marketing content. Know what identity you want to project. So for instance, what fuels your big picture vision? For me, like, in 10 years, I want to run a record label, and I want to make sure that it's a record label that really empowers artists. So what fuels that vision? I would say seeing artists struggling financially and not being able to make a way for themselves and not understanding the business side of things and wanting to empower artists in that sense is really important to me. And that I think that art and music is so important for the health of our society and for our world, and I want to create an incubator for that, so that truer and more honest and more beautiful art makes it to the mainstream. Not that I think that mainstream music is bad, I just want to help more great music reach the mainstream. That's what fuels my big picture vision. So what identity do I want to project? Well, I want to project an identity that cares about artists, that has integrity, that helps artists create music that means more to them. Not only that, they're successful on the business side. I should write that down. Now it's time to write your vision statement paragraph. And basically that's all the questions that I just talked about. Write them all down and create a paragraph. I'm going to have a PDF below the video that you can download and fill out your vision statement paragraph. But just to go over, you'll write out what type of artist or musician or music professional you intend to become in the next 7 to 10 years, the products you'll release to generate revenue, style of music, the level of success that you want to achieve, which industry you'll be in, what are you selling, and what you see yourself projecting or impacting the world with. Now, I think that this is a really great exercise. I know that it's so motivating when you write this kind of stuff down. It's something that I try and do at least on a weekly basis, of write out a paragraph of where I see myself in 10 years. You can fail so many times in this industry, and you fall on your face in front of your friends and your family, and that's tough. So it's really good to remind yourself where you're headed and what the ultimate goal is. And maybe you have something that's bigger than you or more important than you at the end of the road, and you need to remember that, or it's going to be very easy to give up. So I really encourage you to write this out, and don't just write it out once. Revisit it. Make sure that it's a growing, evolving thing in your life, so that maybe once every quarter or once every month you look at it, you say, is this still what I want? Have I learned anything that's going to change things? Am I staying on point? Really important things to ask yourself, and I think it's a really good exercise to do. And I hope that you enjoyed this video, and take care. Stay working, but don't work too hard, and love yourself. See ya.